Welcome back to another reading and correcting of Shattered Salvation with me, Kindar. The Tiger writes, Hi, the Tiger Supervisor. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Today we are doing Chapter 5. Alex looked up from the knife he was reassembling that he'd been working on since coming out of cryo. The screen and sensor told him there was nothing there, nothing here. They were in the void of space. Closed up the handle on the vibro knife and turned it on. The vibration was barely perceptible. He turned it off and slid in the sheath on his heart. Of those he'd acquired at the prison, this was the best one. Something became visible on the screen. Got into the Tristan adjusted their course and ahead for it. Alex watched as it became clearer, elongated halfway between a cylinder and an end and ellipsoid, with a bulge where the cockpit was. Well, bridge and the proportion told him it was a larger ship. The glow of the engine formed an aura around. He glanced at the sensor and saw how far they were. Looked at the camera. Maximum zoom? No, it was normal resolution. You see this amount of detail at this distance. He ran a program to get the size of the ship, and the numbers were so large they were meaningless. What is that? That is Priyan's Pride, a Valkyrie-class ship from Kilsko. Alex stared at Tristan. He couldn't have said that seriously. That isn't a ship. It's larger than any space station. He checked the numbers. Tristan, that thing is larger than that moon where you took us after the Argan raid. Who needs this? People who don't like to stay in one place. You don't need something like that. You get yourself a good-sized yacht. People like bringing the comfort of home with them. Comfort of home? That thing can fit more people than Delaron's 4 capital city. Tristan didn't reply. Alex watched the ship. The top was clear and he could see buildings there. And our client lives there? He couldn't hide his distance. She owns the ship. Didn't know what to say to that. He knew there were rich people in the universe, but to him, rich meant someone who could walk into a pleasure cruiser vendor and not worry about the price of the ship available. It was beyond anything. He zoomed in until the side of the ship filled the screen, and it was just a pale gray wall. He had to zoom again to see forms in it. Doors were large enough, according to reading, for a ship like theirs to fit side by side. Found something smaller and zoomed on that. A long window let him look into a corridor or a lounge where men and women walked. Alex. The tone was sharp enough to pull Alex out of his amazement and see that they were being contacted. Unknown ship, the digitized voice said. Alex accepted the communication. Identify yourself. Alex activated the implant and slipped in as he sent the tag. Tristan. The system was vast, beyond vast. It wasn't the largest system Alex had been into, but it certainly was the biggest ship system he'd ever seen. And this was one computer, not a series of computers programmed to work as one. Identity accepted, voice said, both through Alex's implant and the ship's communication. Alex followed the voice back to the section of the computer that dealt with incoming ship. Please prepare for system takeover. I will guide you to your assigned hangar. That isn't going to happen, Alex said, just as Tristan shook his head. He easily blocked the computer's attempt to access their ship. The computer didn't try hard. It wasn't used to anyone going against its instruction. Hard that you be guided in, the computer stated. If you want procedures to be respected, you don't hire mercs. You certainly don't hire us. We do things our way. That way certainly never let an unknown computer inside their ship unless it was part of the role they were playing. It was work, not a role. And since the computer was taking its time to do what it should, Alex bypassed it and sent a program to a message node to get someone living talking to him. The program didn't reach the port. It was intercepted and carefully dissected. Alex left that part of the computer before anything could be targeted at him. This is an illegal action, and you can be prosecuted for coercing this system. Digitized. The surface, it sounded exactly like the computer, but it had a quality to it that told Alex this was something. Don't get your code all screwed up. I didn't do anything. Just got your attention. We're here. We need someone to tell us where to land. Our system will guide you in. That isn't going to happen. Give us directions and we'll find our way. Sir, we have procedures. Every ship needs to be guided in. The danger of, yeah. If we hit something, it'll be costly. Look, to me, like that's one where you guys don't need to have. Sir, procedures have to be followed. This isn't some end of the universe station where you mercs get to do whatever you want. We have rules and regulation. You will follow them. Programs flew at the communication node Alex was using. He walled it off and activated his jump program, switching to guess your rules against coercing someone else don't apply to you. Don't bother trying. You are not getting into our we're not getting in our system. Look, if you don't want to tell me, I can just go deeper into your computer and find the information myself. Alex growled. Alex muted his side and ignored the litany of rules the other coercionist was at him. Want them in our system? No, but I didn't tell you to coerce theirs. Not coercing it, I'm just poking at them. I won't do anything unless you tell me, but they don't know that. Just shook his head in a mix of annoyance and amusement. In a mix of annoyance and Alex had grown to recognize. He unmuted his comm. Look, we're here because we have a package to deliver. A package you ordered. Alex rolled his eyes at the patient who was on the other side of the communication, so he sounded scared someone would hear this. Thought about asking permission for but they were hiding, but wouldn't let him do that while they were on the job. Relax. Not you personally. You as ever is in charge of this monstrosity you call a ship. Now, you can argue as long as you want about how things are to be done, but I have a functioning cryo system. How long you're going to be, and I'll come out when you're done. And you can tell me where you want us to go. Or you can save yourself the aggravation and tell me that right now. Silence. Alex used the time to probe the system's programs had been brought online, security tightened. Of course, he was already in, so that wouldn't keep him from doing damage if that was what he wanted. He amused himself by slipping between the programs. They had blind spot large enough he could code their ship through. Didn't they ever encounter a sectionist? Hadn't one of their looked at this poor You're going to hangar 88, pad 23. Thank you, Alex said as he cut the communication. See? Added since he heard that wasn't so difficult, was it? Raised an eyebrow. Alex shrugged. I didn't see what passes as security in there. Give me the word and I can take over this thing without any problem. He pulled up the blueprints and found the hangar in question. Sent the information to Tristan. Because he felt he needed to make a point to the ship's coercionist, he slipped back in, navigated around the security program, and continued deeper into the computer until he reached the ship's registry. It took some convincing to get a copy of it. He exited the computer, not leaving any trace, and filed it away in his personal node. Alex was had the hint of a threat in it. Mumbling, what did you do? I didn't curse anything. I just went in and copied something. With the claw tap on the job to point out the flaws in their security system, Alex. I don't do it. Who will? And shook his head. In that way, Alex liked to see. If this comes back to cause me problem, I will kill you. I know, Alex smiled. Tristan had stopped putting any threat in his voice when he said that. It took a long time for Tristan to take them around the other ship to the right hangar, and Alex used the time to compose a security report pointing out the flaws in their system, some simple ways around it, and offer a come back to test their improved security if they wanted him. The door opened only a fraction, and that was enough for the ship to enter without any risk of touching something. Force field keeping the air in shimmered around their ship. The landing pad was easy to find by the large number painted in of each platform. Theirs was on the other side, and they flew over the immaculate ships. Alex couldn't tell if they'd just come off from the construction yard. As Tristan landed them, Alex cycled through the cameras to get a sense of what was around them: ships, workers, and one man who, by his posture and uniform, was military, arguing with a woman in a simple white dress who didn't have one care. A door opened and let a squad of 6 guards in, who took position behind the man and woman. Alex sent the feed. The military man pointed at their ship, unhappy. Couldn't read lips, but he didn't need to. The gist of what the man said would be, they're criminals who can't even follow simple procedures. We can't allow people like that in our beautiful city. We have to arrest them immediately and throw them in the cell. The woman didn't look by the words. It didn't look like she was listening to him. She watched the ship, said a few words, and the face turned crimson, for he performed a salute and joined the guard. They didn't leave. Filmed on the woman. She was clearly in charge of the client. The robe wasn't white, but a silvery material that could metal. Her face was smooth, unlined. He didn't think she had any makeup on. Looked in her 30s, but with the kind of money she had to have, it meant nothing. She could have been taking a reach with over 1,000,000 years for all he knew. Her hair was dark blonde, straight into her shoulder. It looked perfect, like everything about her. I wondered how many hours it took for her to achieve this appearance, or if she had work done so she always looked like this. The ship touched down and barely a shudder. Shut down the communication system and Tristan. Weapons? We are not here to start trouble. Lied. The gun. Leave your harness here. Went into the. Alex went into his bedroom, took off the harness and put the gun belt on. He clipped his new knife, and he clipped a mono-edged knife to each calf, pummeled down, so they'd be yet to. He had 2 laser blades on his back, added 2 regular polycarbon knives to his sleeves, and 2 under his arm. With them on, he didn't feel quite impressed, but at least he didn't feel naked. When he exited his room, Tristan took a hoverboard from the cabinet. All he'd added was his gun belt with Aziru. They entered the room where the old man was resting. Alex took the board and set it next to the bed, adjusting the power so it was level. Okay. Alex took the board and set it next to the bed, adjusting the power so it was level to the board. It was level with it, the board, not the bed. Tristan deactivated the cryo field. Tristan deactivated the cryo field and they put the old man on the board. Alex adjusted the length and him out of the ship. For the number of ship and workers the hangar had, it was surprisingly quiet. Hapner? Had to be. But why someone would go through the expense of dampening the sound in a space this large was beyond Alex. What was the point? The military man was back next to the woman, pointing at them. This time she frowned and nodded at his word, triumphant, and strode toward her. Weapons aren't permitted on Lady Dahlia's ship. That set his jaw, defying them to argue. Alex watched Tristan and waiting for instruction. Tristan undid his belt. Alex did the same, handing it over to the man, but every weapon. And indicated the knife Alex was reclipping to his pants, the one at the belt. Tristan looked back at the man but didn't move, and motioned and 2 of the guards approached. Glanced at the woman and a show of looking at his claws. They get any closer and they die. That's enough, General. She walked. Oh. She took slow and measured step. But the look on her eyes gave Alex the impression she wanted to hurry. Gaze kept flicking to the old man overboard, like she was worried something would happen to him. Lady, the laws are clear. Only guards are allowed weapons of any kind. He smiled at the general, held between him and the old man. Tristan placed a hand on the board and pulled it away from her a few inches. She frowned, but focused on the general. Hubert, you've already taken their firearm. Be happy with that. And what are you going to do about his claws? Require that he cut them? The general eyed Tristan's hand, and Alex thought he would request exactly that. Need a reason to leave them be. I'm designating them as my grandfather's guard. Now, they are allowed their knives. Except something on her wrist, robe sleeve, and Alex went on guard. The door opened, and 6 doctors entered, pushing a hover bed, no, a medical bed. Alex realized as he saw the monitors set around it. Then they went around the woman in general next to the hoverboard. 2 of them ran scanners over the old man, then nodded. Houston, they moved him to the bed, lit up with all sort of readings about the few Alex could read told him the man was in bad shape, and pushing the bed away, but Tristan grabbed the end. Doctor's test looked from the woman. Lady Priyan said, I believe there is still something to be done. Took a credit chip from her sleeve and handed it to Tristan. Second half of your payment. He let go of the bed and pocketed the chip. She raised a delicate eyebrow. Not going to verify it's all there. Tristan looked at her. When he spoke, his tone was completely casual. I don't have to. You know who I am, how dangerous I am. You know that even if one, call them here, Morans, even if one Moran is missing, I'm back. And all this, the general, the guards, isn't going to prevent me from making you understand just how much of a mistake it was to screw me over. Moran? Really? Why couldn't they just call them credits and be done with it? Alex understood how some planet that had developed their own society independent of space come up with their own currency. These people were clearly part of SpaceGov, or at least traveled within its zone of influence. Should adopt the standard system. The general tensed, and in response, so did the guards, them putting a hand on the butt of his gun. Alex fixed his gaze on her and placed a hand on the pump knife at his belt. He saw the surprise and indecision. She'd take this as an escalation. Were knives any kind of threat? Then Lady Priyan laughed, breaking the tension between Alex and the guards. It was a light, airy sound, the laughter of young girls playing in the field. Although Alex had no idea where that image came. It wasn't like this woman seen a field. Oh, you are so right. I do know these things. Placed a hand on Tristan's arm, which is why I hired you, isn't it? And you did perform as I had hoped you would. Squeezed the arm as I looked at Tristan over. Alex bristled. She checking him out, hitting on him? Tristan was his, not hers. He clamped down on his jealousy. It wasn't his. Alex belonged to whoever he wanted. Alex had no say in the matter. Still, it couldn't help the relief when Tristan didn't react to the touch. So, why are we here? The question took her by surprise. What do you mean? You are here to return my grandfather. Paid. It would have been more expedient for you to send a shuttle to get him. Nodded to the general. I'm certain. Advocated. You hired me through a proxy, so why insist person for the delivery? Why hand me the payment personally? Watched all this, safety of your chamber. So, what is the other job you're hoping to convince me to take? Her smile was brighter now. You are certainly a person, or as preferred. I admire that in a man. Alex's jealousy flared. There was no mistaking it. She was hitting on Tristan. But he still wasn't reacting to it. Alex was happier way, but she was a former and now potential client, so he had to treat her with a certain amount of respect. What's the job? Smiled at him and ran a finger up his arm. You're very direct. Has anyone ever told you that? We're done. In turn, and Alex followed him up the ramp. My brother is going to do something stupid. Stop and faced her. Maybe you should lock him up before he does. Another sigh. He's already laughed. Actually, he's been gone for some. Want me to stop him? Yes. What is he going to do? I'm afraid we'll have to wait. Turned and headed up the ramp. Alex waited where he was. It wasn't the first time a potential client tried to string them along. She'd already admitted she wanted to hire them. Anything else was just power games, something Tristan never had a time for. Plus, he was the one engaging in them. When Tristan called him to the ship, he waited for her. He's going after our grandfather's research. She's inspiration. What is it? Sounded like he was. She hesitated. I don't know. Not for certain. Our grandfather told us story when we were children, but that was a long time ago. It's why I needed you to rescue him. He'll be able to tell you exactly what it is. All right. I'll talk with him when he's ready. Alex? Alex headed up the ramp where Tristan. You don't need to stay in your ship. Surely you'd prefer more comfortable accommodation? Sure, it isn't often you get to avail yourself of what a ship like this has to offer. I was looking at her, considering her offer. What was there to consider? It wasn't like Tristan cared for ample comfort or bothered with. All right. Alex followed Tristan on the ramp, still trying to understand what he was doing. As the ramp closed, Alex saw the mechanic approaching. Grabbed him before he could reach the panel that would give him access to the engine. Just going to perform some maintenance while your ship's here. It's procedure. You touch my ship, said casually, not looking at them, and I kill you. Mechanic looked at Alex, nodded. Even with that, the mechanic didn't immediately understand or accept the reality of the situation. He hurried away. Alex rejoined Tristan as he closed the cover to the ramp's lock. As usual, he used his body to hide what he was doing from those who might be interested in getting in his ship. Tristan turned. That goes for anyone else. My ship doesn't need maintenance. I take of that myself. He looked at the general. And don't try to get in. You're not going to like the result. General, Lady Priyan said, the ship is off limit to everyone. They are my guest. I don't want them to come complaining to me about their property being invaded. I don't complain, said. Those responsible will just die. Her eyes flashed with anger and then were neutral again. Alex had a feeling that if Tristan killed anyone, told him to kill anyone, it would get ugly. Now, I have a wonderful room for you at the top of Prima Tower. You get a view you will never forget, and I can promise you a night like none you've ever had before. 2 rooms. Like, excuse me? I need rooms. She looked at Alex. Oh, of course, he'll have one too. It's going to be a few floors lower. Not everyone can stay in. Connected room. You understand I'm offering you not what I need. I'm cool. Very well, indicated one of the. Find them what they need. I think the Orema district will have it. She turned to Tristan and gave him a brittle smile. Enjoy your night. She left after motioning for the general to fall in step. Their guard indicated for them to follow. Left before Alex signed in for me. I'm going to get my face fixed. I'll turn you when that's done. Nodded. District is guard again. I can find my own way. He left them to wait for the lift, heading for the display. He didn't bother course. Asking it for the fully equipped medical clinic was faster. When he returned to the lift, the guard were gone. He took the next one and went up 2 floors, then down a busy corridor. No one paid him any. Even if he was dressed casual gray and red military jacket over a gray shirt. He stood out among them. Well, they were technicians and mechanics with a soldier. This was the underbelly of the ship, he decided. He had to check another terminal to confirm he was heading in the right direction before finally reaching it. The clinic was one room with 3 medical beds. A doctor in pale green medical uniform. In the pale green medical uniform every doctor in the universe seemed to wear stood from behind a desk. Good afternoon, how can I help you? Asked. How did they tell? Data chip. I need you to reconstruct my face. Surprise her, and she chip. Want the face on here? My original face, yes. Sat at a desk. Name? Why do you need it? It's policy to log every medical procedure undertaken by a Prian citizen. I'm not a citizen, I'm visiting. They had their own citizenship. SpaceGov recognized? I still need to enter you in the system. Alex took another chip and put it on the desk. 10,000 SpaceGov credit. It's yours if you keep out of the system. Looked at the chip like it was a rock. Sir, this isn't about paying me, it's procedure. Sighed and pocketed chip. Fine, Brian Ferguson. She typed, it isn't in the system. I told you, I'm visiting. Then I'm going to need. Alex handed her his Ferguson ID, did what she needed, and had him lie on a bed. He felt his face go numb. She began working and talking, offering him plenty of other modifications. Some sounded extreme, but she spoke as if they were normal thing did. Well done, she said as she handed him a mirror. Sure you don't want anything else? I can give you a larger No, thank you. Quite happy with the body I have. I looked at his face. Also, there was none of the stiffness there before. Whoever constructed that face did a poor job. I know. It was all I had access. It was all I had access to. He ran a finger against the screen. You know, I could have it. I could have removed it. It would have barely been a minute. Thanks. It was the last time he'd had it refreshed. Should get it done now. Tristan hadn't said anything, but the way he ran his finger down it told Alex he liked the scar. Scan shows you have an auditory implant. It does be 15 minutes for me to take it out and repair your ear. Thanks, but I'm okay with it. Got off the bed. Is there a public terminal? Check some. You can use the one at my desk. I'll lock out the medical database. Thanks. He sat once it was done and she grew bored with looking over his shoulder and onto something else. Thought the pattern that turned the child as he heard the ship's voice. Right? Talk to me. He kept his voice low. The plan allowed him to sub-vocalize, but he hadn't gotten used to that. He navigated his way past the lock on the medical database ID and the work that was done. He replaced it with someone from the city, an Esteban Gregor. Ferguson wasn't an ID often. The chance it could link to him was a chance he was to take. With every trace of Ferguson removed, looked for any mention of him or Tristan, but the Lady Prian knew better than to let the names of mercenary make it in. He looked up, and the doctor was still on the other side of the bed with a device. No. He spent 10 minutes inserting code into the system, not outright coercing, nudging. It wouldn't let him take over anything, but open doors and then he found the Orima district, most recent assigned room, and with a thank you to the doctor, left to. This concludes Chapter 5 of Shattered Salvation. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be posted, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the story as well as the others in the series are available at your e-retailer. Support me, that's on my Patreon, where you can also get access to basically everything else I've written. If you want to listen to these live, it's on Twitch every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Links are in the notes. And with that, I shall wish you a good day.